I know we had to take a little break, man. Hopefully everybody had a great Thanksgiving, man.
Yeah.
To be honest, good food. I gotta say, bro, what was the favorite thing on the plate?
We had a weird Thanksgiving, bro. We had a lot of barbecue.
Barbecue.
It was a weird Thanksgiving. It wasn't your traditional, like turkey, ham, none of that stuff. Was eating barbecue. You had the macaroni and yams for sure.
Yeah.
But I had to switch it up a little bit.
Okay, it's nothing wrong with switching it up. We saw that in college football, which we about to get into a little bit, but man, I'm excited, and again, I'm excited to be on Bucket Sports today.
For sure. Like I said, Tyron was out this week, so I called Joe up. I said, Joe, we got to get going. Joe was part of the committee that went out to Tucson with us. We went out to Tucson for the Colorado Arizona game. So he sounded good on there. I was like, okay, man, we was at the game, just talking our talk. So we'll bring him on to this. We got Jacole on the 1 and 2. Jacole, say what's up.
What's up?
There we go. Excited for it. Like you said, though, like Joe said, we got a lot to get to, so I guess we go ahead and break into it. Last weekend, championship games, with it being a playoff, it was kind of interesting because some SEC coaches, like Lane Kiffin, were saying they actually didn't want to play an SEC championship because they felt like if you lose, you might be out of the playoff or maybe a lesser seed or a lower seed.
Yeah.
But we're going to start off in SEC, which is generally speaking usually my favorite. We had Georgia, Texas for inaugural year in the SEC. Made it to the championship game. Thought it was going to be kind of interesting. Like Kirby Smart and the boys, they be there just about every year is what it seems like.
Yeah.
Especially with Nick Saban not coaching anymore. What were your thoughts on the game?
Man, I mean, I'll say outside from the turnovers, it looked like exactly like the first one. Two defense getting after it. I mean, man, that Georgia's front seven is dangerous.
Yeah.
We saw a lot of that. What I was actually shocked is that I think his name was Stockton that came in.
Okay.
You want to check that for Georgia.
Gunnar Stockton.
Yeah, Gunnar Stockton, man. To be honest, man, I think he did his job, but one thing I did notice was Trevor Etienne, man, he stepped up. I think once Carson Beck went down, you saw that run game get active, and he kind of put it on his shoulders to definitely get it done. Like, hey, man, like, if we want to come out with a W, it's on me.
Yeah, so a couple things. I was thinking that Trevor Etienne, which is Travis' younger brother, started off at Florida.
Yeah.
Right, started off at Florida, ended up transferring over, which is, it's weird. You see that a little bit more nowadays because usually most of the times those rival schools, it's like, wait, you start off at, because I think that's the biggest cocktail party's name of that rivalry between Georgia and Florida because it's in Jacksonville. So usually you don't cross over to be on the other team's sideline. But Trevor got it going, and I think he's coming off some like cracked ribs or some broken ribs or something.
I believe
like
so.
that.
Yeah, it was like his first week back. They were talking about that. Yeah, something like that, man.
But Joe's a running back, a former running back, so I think this is a great time to bring it. How much do you think that impacts you being a running back, playing a pretty good defense in Texas, having those cracked ribs? How much do you think that will impact there?
To be honest, that's crazy because, every single hit, you're getting hit in that midsection.
Yeah.
So I would say the hardest thing would probably be breathing, like getting hit in those ribs. Like, you get hit and then the breathe out is where you feel that pain. So for him to run, man, you see some of those plays when he rocked into it and he was the bruiser. So to be honest, man, shout out to Georgia's medical staff, but they obviously got him right for the game.
And the thing is, I just feel like too. So first of all, if you're going to Georgia as a football player, college football specifically, you gotta be a dog. Like that ain't the school to go to. Even as a receiver, you got to be a dog.
Yeah.
Like the front seven every single year, even though like you say, a lot of teams they're too deep isn't as strong. At Georgia, the Georgia too deep is probably going to be pretty strong on the offensive or defensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
But yeah, for like we were saying about Trevor Etienne, 16 carries for 94 yards, 2 touchdowns. Going into the game, I know we had Tyrus pick. Who were you picking going into that game? Did you have Georgia win or did you have Texas win?
Oh man, that was a tough one. Going off what I kind of saw post that first game with them. Honestly, I thought I had Texas. To be honest, like going to this season, I didn't have too much confidence in Carson Beck.
Yeah.
And as the season's going, he's just too he's gonna make a couple bad plays in those games, especially late in the season. I didn't have that trust, and also I know it's hard to beat a team twice.
Yeah.
So to go and beat Georgia in the championship, for Texas, I thought they had that in hand, but obviously it was different.
Yes, I think you bring up a good point with Carson Beck. It's like as his stock has been declining more and more, and you hear the media, you hear everybody talking about it. That kind of weighs on his confidence as well.
Yeah.
I think he was at some media day, or maybe just at the press. and he was saying, I don't even really watch football. And then, so it's like, that's like, and I get it. He probably watches film. He's an SEC quarterback. I think he was a 4 or 5 star player coming out of high school. Yeah. But it's like, whenever you hear he's not been doing as well, and then you hear that couple with him saying, I don't really watch football, you know, all the fans sitting home like, that's why.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
who are you watching? But the thing though, I did want to kind of bring this to attention after watching the game. You know, his stock has been declining. I think Georgia receiving core leads the country in drops.
Really?
That's a crazy like dynamic. And so like, you know, you sit back and look at that. It's like, well, is it coincidental that the quarterback has been struggling and then his receivers haven't been catching the ball? Because one thing for sure, he was trying to throw the ball downfield, and them Georgia receivers, I was looking it up. It was 11, I think his name was, and Arian Smith. He came back and had a better game, but he was dropping them, and I think they even played out in the broadcast. And it's weird because I think Herbstreit was doing the SEC championship game, right? Kirk Herbstreit.
I think so. We may have to get Jacola now.
Check that out. I think it was Kirk Herbstreit was calling the game, and which is weird because, you know, use SEC championship games on CBS, but now the ESPN has a contract with the SEC. Yeah. And it's like, I remember one time the receiver came out of what seemed like a dude, whatever the route was, like with 10 and in or whatever, and he's jumping. And it's like, and he's dropping the ball. Now you done drop about 2 to 3 passes. It's like, now you're getting nerves on because you know your team. I'm sure your wide receiver coach, your offensive coordinator lets you know, like, yo, we got to start catching the ball. Yeah. And it's like it kind of weighs on your confidence. Now your receiver's sitting on that sideline. I can't catch the ball. Y'all know it's been going well, but it's so like I was saying, though, to kind of go back to it, it's like, okay, your quarterback struggling, receiver can't catch the ball. That's tough for you. Now on the other side, let's back up.
I'm staying with you.
Let's back up. What do you think about Quinn? This
Quinn?
Season. What do you think about Quinn? Yes, just what do you think about
man, that's such a crazy question because going into this season, I actually had him as my top pro QB.
Okay.
I had him as my top pro QB watching last season, man. I mean, the way he would just throw the ball, the place he put it in. But I think that injury really hurt him. Yep. I don't know, but, you know, what happened or maybe he came back a little bit too quick, but it just seems he hasn't been the same player since he's been post-injury. So I'll just say, you know, like my confidence in him, it hasn't been too much just because of that.
Okay, so same, like, because I remember whenever he committed to Ohio State, he's going to get the NIL bag. I think he skipped the senior high school or whatever, or half of it. I forgot exactly how it went. But he goes to Ohio State, and I'm like, and I remember at one point, C.J. Stroud got him, was like, cause I think if C.J. was hurt that day or something happened, he had like, no, you got to be ready to take it. Obviously, he transferred to Texas. But I remember during when he was being recruited, and as you know, he's like a 5-star player, they were like, he has a lot of natural arm talent. And you kind of see some of the throws he makes. It's like he just throws the ball and it just goes kind of in the vicinity. But you also see that's where sometimes they say he gets real lazy. Because a lot of times you're naturally talented. Maybe that guy that's had to do the three-step drop every single time perfect for getting the ball on time, he's got to like do it all perfectly. But if you're a guy that's naturally talented, you just kind of and it works. Yeah. And then remember, because he used to have like the mullet. And then they're like, okay, he got the haircut. Okay, he's being more serious about the game. Yeah. But in this game, I was watching some of those throws he was making to those receivers. I'm like, and I know he had an interception that was tipped early on in the game, but I'm like, dang, he seemed kind of nice. Yeah. He seemed like, and maybe, if I'm not saying he's nice, it's just, it seems very effortless to him. Yeah. But he is definitely one of those quarterbacks, because it went over to Steve Sarkisian a couple times, where he's going to make 2 to 3 throws a game. And you even saw Steve saying on TV, he's like, you can't do that, man. Yeah. He's going to make 2 or 3 throws where you look at the quarterback, and offensive coordinator, head coach, the quarterback, like, bro, what are you doing? Yeah. So a lot of times he's just going to throw it around and this, that, and the third. I feel like he started off playing pretty well, besides the interception, because obviously that throws off in the middle. Yeah, but then it kind of slowed down there. He went 27 for 46, 358 yards, and 1 touchdown. Once again, so I don't watch a lot of Texas. I watch just a little bit of them, but I watch Bond. Because I remember, I feel like he came from Alabama.
Yeah, he came from Alabama, yeah.
He came from Alabama, so okay, I watched Bond. Yeah. But that Matthew Golden, that's the one. Yeah, not to say Bond ain't the one. But that other one, he the one. Bro had 8 catches, 162 yards. DeAndre Moore, another one of the receivers. I don't know if he runs in the slider. He's just doing like the third option. He had 9 catches, 114 yards. So if you look at the box score, it's like, okay, so you had a receiver go for 162. You had another receiver go for 114, but then when you look, the running back had 19 carries for 51 yards. Yeah. And like I said, there's credit to Georgia's defensive line or front seven, however you want to put it. Mm-hmm. But So Georgia did walk away with the win. I thought that would have been a great, kind of like storybook ending. Not really because you got the playoff, but it would have been dope for you to be able to enter inaugural year in the college football playoff, whatever. But being able to go to the SEC championship game and win it, they weren't able to get it done. But I walked away with that game with a little bit more confidence in Texas. I watched that game. I'm like, okay, they can compete. Yeah. Not just now. Obviously, we saw this year they blew out Michigan early in the year. They've had a good season thus far. But I was like, okay. Texas is one of my few teams I'm like looking at. And we'll talk a little bit more because I know in the first round they got Clemson, which I'm kind of excited about that matchup. Yes, but we'll talk a little bit more of that. We'll move forward, going to the ACC championship game. Clemson, SMU. I don't know if you're big in the Clemson. Don't really know if you're big in SMU. But before that game, who's your pick? Who do you think is going down?
To be honest, man, SMU's kind of they grew on me during the year. Like I didn't watch too much of them, but kind of these last couple of weeks, I was like, man, they're in the fight, and obviously they couldn't get it done against Clemson, but I think out of all the teams in the playoffs, they bring a different energy than everybody.
For sure.
So I think with them, if they can continue to bring that, then I think they can. I don't think they'll be able to win it, but I think they'll definitely be able to shake things up.
Okay, that makes sense. I was thinking, wasn't a big fan of SMU at all. I haven't watched them a lot early. I haven't watched. They're 11-1 going to the game, so it's not like they're a bad team. I just haven't watched them as much.
Yeah.
But I just got that feel like okay, Texas is a big dog going to the SEC, so it's okay what we working with.
Yeah.
SMU, I don't have all the logistics of it right, but they almost had to pay some money almost to get into the ACC completely. And I'm like, so they had a great year. That's cool, but I think I was just more excited. I wanted to see like Clemson and Miami, the ACC championship game.
Yeah, true.
That was the matchup I was looking for. So I cut on the TV, that YouTube TV. Shout out YouTube TV. We want the deal. But we want the deal. But I turned on the TV. It's 21-7 Clemson. So I back it up, go watch it. And I'm like, are these lights too bright? Because let's be clear, Dabo used to say this thing: ACC is another Clemson championship. ACC stands for another. Clemson basically has a residency in this ACC championship game. Last couple, maybe not most recently. I don't watch as much Clemson as I used to, but for the most part, Clemson. We know Clemson, especially the years of the Deshaun Watson and Trevor Lawrence. You know about Taj Boyd.
Yeah, come on, bro. That's when I first really got introduced to Clemson.
It's okay, we'll take a break. What you know about Taj Boyd?
Sammy Watkins. Come on, man. That was a Colt. Hey, that was a Colt. I think DeAndre Hopkins was on that squad too. Right?
Yep.
Yeah, man. That was a dangerous team.
I was Clemson LSU, 4th and 16. Remember that? DeAndre Hopkins has a catch.
Walk me through it, man.
Yeah, 4th and 16. No other options. I think that was, as a matter of fact, we're going down back a little bit here, y'all. That's like 2000, almost like 11. That's when Eric Reed was playing at LSU and back then. But I think that was getting solidified. DeAndre Hopkins getting the first round draft pick by Houston.
Yeah.
And look at where D-Hop is now. That was him when he wasn't even in the league yet. But back to the subject. 21-7 Clemson was up. Man, it's a wash.
Yeah.
SMU comes stumbling back, and they just score a little bit. And it was crazy because after the game, because obviously to even put them in the ACC championship game was crazy because Syracuse had to get the win. Syracuse got the win to even, and it's like Clemson came out here dominating, and they barely made it to this game.
Yeah.
Because if Miami takes care of business, when they had a big lead against Syracuse, they're not even playing.
Yeah.
But Dabo Swinney finds a way in.
Yeah, man. He's gritty. I mean, Dabo, I think he represents, I mean, you know better than me, I think he represents South Carolina, so, you know, he kind of has that part of the, of the SEC, so, or ACC, sorry, my bad. And he's just been in it so long. I think one of the best things in college football is experience.
Yeah.
You know, he knows those ACC teams like the back of his hand probably now, so.
And like I go what you're saying.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, I think that probably plays to his advantage more often than not.
And like I said, so whenever Dabo Swinney takes that trip to Charlotte from Clemson, I feel like it's about 2 hours. So it's like, y'all, we did this before, we done this. We got a second shot because we lost to South Carolina. Yeah. So we lost there, so we still have a chance to make the playoffs. Is what I'm trying to say. Mm-hmm. Let's take care of business against SMU. They were able to do it. But Dabo, after the game, he advocates. So I don't know if I said it. Clemson got the final score 34-31. He advocates like SMU better make the playoff. And we're gonna pause right here before we talk about other games. So Dabo says SMU better make the playoff. Did you want to see SMU in? Did you want to see, or one of the Alabama, South Carolinas, or Ole Miss that were all on the bubble?
I don't mind SMU, and to be honest, I didn't really have too much faith in Alabama this year.
Okay.
To be honest, I wouldn't like. To be honest, I'm fine with. I'm not the seeding. We'll get into the seeding a little bit later and all that, but I'll just say with the teams and SMU getting in over Alabama, I'm fine with that. To be honest, especially how the championship game went too, being a close game.
Yeah, because maybe if it's like that big blowout or something like that, you're like, I don't know about that. But if it's a close game, it's like whatever. So I seen, it's funny, I saw Rhett Lashley, I think that's his name, Jacob. You look up the SMU head coach, we'll figure out if that's his exact name, don't want to mispronounce his name, whatever. Mm-hmm. But I was like, where does this dude look? He's real familiar. Where does he come from?
Rhett Lashley.
Rhett Lashley, yeah. You remember whenever Nick Marshall and was at Auburn? He used to be a cornerback.
The quarterback, yeah.
And Trey Mason?
The running back, yeah.
When they played Jameis Winston in Florida State National Championship game in Pasadena?
And they won Calvin Benjamin on the...
Yeah. You know, on Jameis' birthday.
Yeah.
He was I know he was the quarterback's coach. I think he might have been offensive coordinator under Gus Malzahn whenever he took them to national. I'm like, where does this dude, like, he looked real familiar. That was the guy, but I know. So you've heard Joe's perspective. And I understand the team that I'm about to say here took a couple bad losses, so I can't even trip about SMU getting in. Although I do not want to see SMU in the playoff. And I have nothing but love for SMU because they did take me on the. They did accept me on the visit. So I got nothing but love for him. I went on a visit there when Cortland Sutton was there.
Okay.
He looked like Calvin Johnson out in that field. And that was back when they were in the AAC conference, the AAC, whatever. Mm-hmm. We went on a visit there. So I got nothing for love for SMU. I don't want to see them hating on y'all. But I don't want to see them in there. I want to see Ole Miss.
Ole Miss, okay.
Because I feel like now, granted, Ole Miss does lose to the Floridas. They do lose to the Kentuckys. They lost to somebody else too. I can't think of it right now. See who else Ole Miss lost to. But they also beat the devil out of Georgia. Like they come to play, and I feel like they got the stars to be in the playoff. Mm-hmm. Like when I look at the playoff, I know it's a 12-team playoff, but I want to see a whole bunch of you're like all the games I can't wait to watch. Some of the games I'm looking at in the playoff right now, I'm kind of like, I might not even check that one out. But I personally, and I went to University of South Carolina too, so I'm not definitely shout out Lenore Sellis, the Heisman, whatever you want to call them. But I really would like to see probably number one. I would like to see Ole Miss over SMU. Number two, I probably like to see South Carolina, and the Alabama would have been third because that little loss to Oklahoma I can't get jiggy with.
Ole Miss's losses are Florida, LSU, Kentucky.
Yeah, LSU. And to say this, and I'm a big college football, I get on tangents. It's crazy how a couple plays change the dynamic of this season. Because if South Carolina, if the North never gets hurt, they're in the playoff because they would have beaten LSU. They would have beaten them. They should have beaten Alabama. Yeah. You talk about that right there. A couple plays against Florida and Kentucky where they just should not have lost those games. But Ole Miss definitely should not have lost to Florida. And Kentucky really too. And then because you can take a good loss against LSU. Okay, we lost to LSU. It's probably in Death Valley. I think the game was in Death Valley. They'll take that, but them couple plays cost you a ride, and it's even crazier because the coach Lane Kiffin was talking. We really don't want to play the SEC championship game because I was talking to a lot of coaches. We don't want to play because we want to get ready for the playoff. Then you go ahead and blow out, lay an egg against Florida, and you ain't in the playoff no way. And so now, I ain't gonna lie to you. I don't know, what's your perspective on the bowl games? Because, you got a lot of these teams. After we figure out who's in the playoff, then they're announcing. You go on your school's Instagram account, like, we're going bowling to Orlando. Some weird shit like that. Yeah. But with that being said, are you like, man, if I was a top player, I'd opt out? Or you like, gotta play that last game, whatever?
I think it depends on the players. Like, if you're a Cam Ward, a Shador, Travis Hunter, you don't need to play, right? Yep. You're a first round top 10 pick. You're just kind of playing because you can. But if you're a dude, kind of like, hey man, I want to boost my draft stock. Yeah. Why not? Like bowl games, you're usually playing better teams. So if you ball out there, I remember I'm a Buckeye fan, so I know I might get some hate. Might lose some listeners off that.
Okay. We can take one or two.
Yeah, right. Especially out in AZ, you can handle the heat for a little bit of them.
Yeah.
I would say I remember when Jackson Smith-Njigba broke the record in a bowl game.
Oh, against Utah.
Yeah, so you know, like even huge players can make big plays and have big games. So I think it really just depends on the player.
And to your credit, that game wasn't putting them in the playoff. Yeah. That was just a game for him to kind of go out there, and a lot of guys sit him out. I thought you were about to mention, you remember Denzel Ward?
Yeah.
Back in the day, whenever he was at Ohio State, and I think they were playing Notre Dame. I'm a country ball story. But and I remember everybody was upset because he was sitting on the sideline. And they're like, yo, why isn't he playing? Like, you know, it's your last game, but he was protecting his stop. I guess the way I see it, obviously, if you play in the playoff, go crazy.
And rightfully so for Denzel Ward, too. Obviously, the way his career is played out.
Balling. The straight balling. But DBU, Ohio State, we'll talk about it another day. Can't get into that. Can't get into that today. But if you're on these top, I think, like, if you're playing the playoff, go play. But if not, like, I'll be honest with you, like, y'all know I'm rocking with the bus for sure. I got the gear. We went to the game, so we're verified.
Let's go, bus. Yeah.
But if I should, I wouldn't play. His dad is, you see, his dad is big on it. He's like, all of our seniors that are that played this season will be playing this bowl game. I'm like, if we were playing in the Big 12 championship game, and then have it to a playoff for sure, but it's like, especially with a questionable offensive line in Colorado. Yeah. Sometimes the boys show up and go crazy. You know that freshman that they got at center this year?
The Cleveland guy, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he, IMG Academy guy, all that, freshman All-American.
Wow.
That's crazy. That boy wasn't even starting this year. And center, I'm surprised he didn't get more offers coming just because you're the center at IMG Academy. Yeah. I would think that would get you an offer to it, like, I don't know, Nevada. You know what I'm saying? Shout out Nevada.
At least at Iowa State.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Shoot, like, be a Cyclone or something, but they didn't. But I guess it all worked out to him. It just go to show you. You get that opportunity, somebody gets hurt, so the center can't get the snap right, they throw you in there. You get your freshman All-American and Seaton, the left tackle.
Yeah, I see him a little bit too. Yeah.
Highly touted.
Yep.
I think he's All-American this year. Not even a freshman. I think he's just All-American.
Wow.
Well, in one of them polls, you got Athlon, Fox, CBS, and all of them. He was in one of them. But we're going to keep it moving. Talk about Big 12 championship game. Joe, I'm not going to lie to you. This is why you're here.
Yeah.
Big 12 championship game. Y'all, Joe, like I said, Joe went to Arizona State for a minute. Arizona State's interesting because they were, just another program out here. I think they cut in the NFL, they say a Jag, just another guy. They had y'all another program out here.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, y'all just blew up this year. Then next thing we know, I'm thinking I'm going to Dallas for the Big 12 championship game to go root on Colorado. Arizona State's in it. Then Arizona State mess around and win. What did you think about the game when they played this weekend in that Big 12 championship game? I think that game was in Dallas.
Man, well, I think there is only one thing to say, man. The Mr. 392 Scatterboo, man.
Okay. Talk about it.
Hey, I would say behind Janiti, man, I would say he's the best outside of Janiti. He's the best running back in the country, man. I mean, to be honest, he is very fun to watch. I actually went to that Utah game and saw him basically win that game single-handedly. But he's a beast.
Yeah.
He fights for everything, and I think that's kind of the will of that team almost.
Yeah.
They're not the best, they're not the fastest, but they'll get in that, they'll kind of put that toe and go toe-to-toe with you, like hand-to-hand. So, to be honest, as much as I love to see them win that game, man, I don't think they should be in the playoffs. I think that's a crazy take, but I just don't think they got the firepower to go toe-to-toe with some of these teams.
I was, and I'm gonna let you continue. I was thinking that as because we know that automatic bids as long as you win your conference championship, but it's like, but is Arizona State ready to go against some of the other bigger guys that we've seen? And we got some not softer, but some smaller schools, I guess you would say to an extent. Yeah. And not the blue bloods, some not blue bloods in there. But I was thinking, I'm like, is Arizona State ready to go against some of these dogs? But you seen your boy also because he was a self-proclaimed. He said, I'm the best running back.
Yeah, he's got a. I get why his head's so big right now. I mean, man, he's almost seems unstoppable, right?
Yeah.
But to be honest, literally, Janine, if he has a great game, when he gets a chance in the playoffs, he'll break Barry Sanders' record. So
that's crazy.
And if you watch the way he plays, man, oh my goodness, man, he's a beast. So
you talking about Boise State guy?
The Boise State
But I'm talking about the Arizona State guy.
Yeah, no,
he said it too. He said I'm the best running back.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, I'm saying
he shouldn't. He shouldn't be saying that. Like I get it. I love it. I love the energy, right?
The confidence.
Yeah,
as a running back yourself, I'm about to say you probably be like that's how you're supposed to run through the hole, kind of be like I'm the best. Yeah,
he knows he's the guy, and he is, but he's not that guy.
He's just a guy, pal. They went final score, blew him out too in the Big 12 championship game, 45-19. Big day. I kind of want to look at the stats here, Jacob. You might have to figure it out for us.
They were missing one of their, I would say outside of Scatterboo, they're missing their top offensive weapon in Tyson, which I was a little iffy. I thought Iowa State was going to be their toughest opponent for the season, and to be honest, man, they handled them pretty easily. And if they're able to keep that quarterback Levitt, I think he'll be really good for him.
And just, I got it pulled up to go, so you take a break on this. We'll need you in a second. He has 16 carries, 170 yards. So you're looking at, he's averaging 10.6 yards a carry. And once again, y'all, like I said, shout out Joe. As a running back, how hard is that to do, especially in the Big 12 championship when you feel like you should be facing some of the best talent you faced all year?
Well, to be honest, you probably feel unstoppable. After that second kind of run where you're like, oh, man, I'm getting, when my first level of contact or when I'm even facing going down is, safeties and cornerbacks, that second level kind of guys. You're like, coach, let's just run the ball. Game, forget the game plan. Let's go on this center and let's run it. If we're getting 10 yards a carry, man, let's just put on this center and let's go to work.
Probably like, feed me. Let me ask you this. What you think, is he that great of a back? Or does Arizona State, some of their offensive line, just tremendously improve?
I think he's just that great of a back.
That great of a back, okay.
You could say that, but he's literally done everything for that team. Last year, when Arizona State was having QB troubles, he played quarterback for them. Even this year, you've seen him do stuff in the receiving game. So to be honest, he's became a complete back this year. Even the head coach Dillingham said he challenged him on Scatterboo was saying like, hey, what can I do to get better this offseason? And he's like, man, you got to get skinnier, you got to slim down and get faster. Okay. And he did that. They said he came in this season about 10 pounds slimmer. Yep. 10, 15, and then obviously you've seen that speed a little bit this year. So he's improved his game, and I think it really is Scatterboo.
I think it's interesting, too, sometimes, like you kind of said, it's like coach comes and challenges you in the offseason. He's like, all right, what can I do to get better? Like, that's a good question. Yeah. Oh, go do this. And then actually go back and do it, and then be able to lead your team based off of the adjustments you've been told to make. That's dope. So they're going to move forward to the playoff. We're going to get to the playoff picks in a second, y'all. We're just trying to get through these conference championship games. Some of my history lessons have taken some time from us. Then, obviously, Big Ten championship game, Oregon take care of the business, 45-37 over Penn State. Any thoughts on that game?
I think that was more confidence for Penn State than anything. I mean, I think it's pretty clear Oregon's a team to beat in the playoffs.
Only undefeated team this year, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, correct. Yeah. They're the team to beat, and for them to go toe to toe with them and almost kind of squeeze out a dub there, I think that's huge confidence then to roll into the playoffs. Okay, yeah. Let's talk about these playoffs real quick and kind of go through them, figure out what you're thinking. So, is how we're looking at the bracket. You got Notre Dame, Indiana. We've got to start really getting to segments and stuff, but on the main, we just gonna talk and just figure it out. We supposed to call this money line. Money line segment. Just make your picks. So let's roll. Notre Dame, Indiana. Man, I like my boys out in Indy. Like my boys.
Both of them in Indy. Which one? South Bend, and you got what's it called? I
like my boys South and Southern Indiana. My bad, Indiana. Yeah, I like Indiana in that.
A lot of people were kind of iffy on Indiana too, because they're another team. They're like, how did they kind of get into the playoff? You know what I'm saying? They only had one loss this season against Ohio State. Yeah. A lot of people feel like they didn't have maybe the best schedule this year. But so you got Indiana in that one?
Yeah, I do. It'll be a rivalry game, and I think what I think is their coach can outcoach him. I think Signetti can outcoach Brian Kelly in that. I think that's what it'll come down to.
Not Brian Kelly. Who's our guy? Black dude went to Ohio State.
Oh, yeah, my bad. I forgot.
What's his name? Nicole, you want to find his name? I remember him specifically. A lot of people were pissed that Ohio State lost against Michigan. They're like, maybe we should go get this guy. I'm going to Notre Dame. This game is going to be at Notre Dame, too.
Marcus Freeman.
I couldn't think of his name right there. They started off the year, they were all right, but then they lost to Northern Illinois? Is that what they lost to? Notre Dame earlier this year? It was one of them little small schools they lost to, and everybody was like, they got to fire And like, you know, we got to fire him. But I think he's going to have him ready to roll. I'm picking Notre Dame in this. I think Notre Dame is kind of tired. Everybody's saying they get into the playoff and they lay an egg. You know what I'm saying? So they'll have a chance. The only problem is with them losing a game early this year. It was against Northern Illinois. Sometimes that might make you think like sometimes they might play down a little bit to the competition. They might be taking, you know, we got Indiana. This is the easy part to the bracket. Yeah. And it looks like from what I'm seeing, the winner of that game is going to go on to face Georgia. So really, I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters who wins that game. But we'll talk about that game later. I will say this though, and we kind of did mention there's so much to talk about for each thing.
Yeah.
Georgia's a different team, and that backup you were talking about, when he comes to that game, it changes everything. He out here getting hit on the goal line, and helmet flying off, folding back. And so it makes you think, I think they said, what's his name messed up his shoulder, the quarterback for Georgia messed up his shoulder, something like that. Did you see? I forgot, something like that. But it's like, okay, now they do have a couple weeks to rest because this game isn't even going to be played. That first round isn't even going to be played until I think it's like the
20th.
The 20th, yeah. So you got some time to rest. You got some time to get healthy. It's like you got to look at Gunner like, man, I like Gunner a lot. He brings a different thing. And he's that real, kind of like a dual threat. You know, most times you think of like a dual threat, you think of like a,
you know, Lamar, you know.
Yeah, he ain't.
A little quicker.
Yeah, he ain't that. You know what I think of him? He like, whenever you play basketball, and then the white boy, they show that some white boys just shoot threes. You know, it is what it is. But some of them boys can drive too. He one of them. He'll drive to the lane. He'll be like, okay, so we can't just go out there and throw the hand up. He might go in. So that's what I think of him. So like I said, my belief, I think whatever happens in this Notre Dame game, Indiana game, it'll be a good ride, but Georgia will end up taking care of business.
Yeah, the only thing I will say with that is he is young, and he did show he was young.
Bro,
that late quarter pick to send him to OT, it's like, man, you don't want to do that especially against a defense like Notre Dame. They're not gonna waste that chance.
That's you know what, it's funny because that game felt like it happened a little time ago, so I forgot every little detail. I forgot about the interception. He threw one. The Texas guy got another one.
Yeah.
But yeah, he throws that interception. I'm like, yo, because if you look at the play, it's like, what was he looking at?
Yeah, it's like.
It looked like he panicked. Like he just kind of threw the ball out there a little bit. Another thing is, I ain't gonna get them Georgia DBs. We'll talk about that next week when they play again. I can go a whole way. All right, next Monday. So I'm going Notre Dame. He's going Indiana. Keep moving here. Penn State, SMU. Who you got?
I usually like Penn State on that one.
That game's gonna be at Penn State. I think there's no way that game's gonna be. I think that's gonna be at Penn State.
Yeah, it's at Penn State. Yeah, if they do a whiteout, yeah. Good
I was
luck.
just thinking that.
Yeah, good luck.
Have you seen it, y'all? Whenever next time, I think I should look at that camera. Go on TikTok. Look up Penn State whiteout on TikTok. And there's like how like it just shows like I think TikTok does a pretty good job of showing how loud it is and what it's like to be on the field during that.
Yeah.
And so it's like SMU, y'all. You thought Charlotte was something. You get up in that whiteout, you'll see what's going. So I definitely got I agree with you on that one. I got Penn State winning that one. Winner of that game goes on to take on Boise State. Really like the fact these games are going to be on college campuses, at least the first round. I don't know about the second, but that first round definitely is. Keep moving. Clemson, Texas, who you got?
Man, I think this is a huge one. Oh, man. I think Texas is just too seasoned. Again, experience is key. And I think Clemson's just a little too young. I think Klubnik, I think that's his name.
Yeah, K.
I think he's just a little too young. He's going to be really good, and he is already really good, but I think he's just too young. And then going against Texas, another seasoned team with some veterans on there, and I just don't see them losing. After that Georgia loss, I don't see them really losing until a team like Oregon or, Ohio State, somebody like that.
A couple of crazy things about Cade. Cade and Quinn battled out in high school.
Really?
One went to South Lake Carroll. I'm pretty sure that's where Greg Malcory went to. College football, high school football too. Quinn went to South Lake. Not Quinn. Cade went to South Lake. They played in high school. Cade won. Mm-hmm. And so, as a matter of fact, some of his teammates from Westlake now play at Texas. Really? So it's kind of weird because like these guys really know each other. They battled it, and they were two of the, I think Cade was. They're both the top ranked quarterbacks, and they're like top 2, top 3, both coming out of Texas. Obviously Texas is a big state, and it was weird because whenever Dabo was talking about Cade, he was like, he's like Deshaun, but he's a little faster. I was like, dude, Dabo, come on, quit playing with me, bro. Like, come on, D-Watt kind of nice. Well, at least, D-Watt was kind of nice. But you see it a lot. Like, sometimes he'll make that quick step, and Doesn't seem like it's cool. It covers 0, so there's nobody there home, and he'll take off running, so he's pretty fast. I'm going Texas too, though.
Yeah.
I don't see, and that game is definitely going to be in Austin. Yeah, then because they're the 5 seed. That's going to be in Austin. I got Texas. I think Quinn Ewers and those boys, they're going to be a little upset from the SEC championship game.
Yeah.
I mean, you lost the trophy, but you still got a chance to win it all. I think they'll take, take care of business. All right, and then the big one. I'd say the other ones weren't. I don't think the first 2 were. But that Texas one, obviously, a big one.
Come on, you already know who I'm going with. Come on, you ain't got to ask.
So it's easy. You got OH, you got Ohio State beating Tennessee.
Of course, man. I got them winning it all.
You got Ohio State winning it all.
Man, if they can do... Okay, the thing about Ohio State is that they've shown glimpses of the team they can beat.
For sure.
And to be honest, if they can play that team consistently, I think they got a chance. It's just, man, there's just something always goes wrong in these games. I mean, watching that Michigan game, it was like pulling teeth.
Yeah.
Almost, but.
But let's be honest. I don't. Hey, you like a Michigan guy today. I know you're ahead of but I'm looking up. I see that yellow and the blue.
You can't be saying that. You can't be saying that
all you
on
need
camera.
All you need is a little Jordan thing. You be straight.
No, they still the team up north.
Yeah, don't even mention the name. Bro, there was no way. I think my sister asked me. She was like, "Yo, so you gonna watch?" Because the Clemson Carolina game was going on. I'm from South Carolina, so I'm watching that. Are you gonna watch the Ohio State game? I'm like, bro, there's no way in the world that Ohio State's not gonna beat Michigan.
Yeah.
This is the year they're supposed to stump on them. Y'all, we missed a couple episodes, so we gotta kind of bring it back. I'm like, yo, and then you just keep seeing a little game recap pop up, and you say Michigan's hanging in there. Ohio State throws an interception. Yeah. You're like, wait a minute, Ohio State gonna mess around, lose this game. Sure enough, they lost this. So clearly you got them beating Tennessee. Is what I'm hearing.
Yeah. Again, same thing. I think Nico, he's gonna be a great quarterback, but he's just too young. I think we saw that kind of when they played, I believe Georgia.
Okay.
From watching that game, they didn't put any points up in the second half.
There was this stat up that showed Nico's touchdowns, and then how many of them were against SEC opponents, and it was like, oh, that's crazy.
Really?
I think I have a bookmark on one of these apps. I forgot what it was.
Was they saying like he threw more against SEC or no?
No, it's like most of his touchdowns weren't against like SEC opponents. Like most of his touchdowns were against when they play like little smaller schools and stuff like that. But he's a freshman, it takes time. I've said this many times on the show. I always believe in a Southern California quarterback. I don't know what I think it might be because they be out there surfing. I don't know what it is, but the Southern California quarterbacks, C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young, they always end up figuring it out, especially in college. NFL, they get shaky sometimes. But I'm going, and this is crazy because Nico said earlier in the year, I wish I had the clip, he even said it, he was like, I love nothing more than going on the road. Well, you got everything you want now. You go to Ohio State, you got a disgruntled fan base.
Well, this ain't any kind of road though. This the shoe.
Yeah, this the shoe. Somebody said, and I thought it was a great point too, that Ohio State fan base kind of disgruntled right now.
Yeah.
So some stuff start going wrong, they might hear a boo or two. And bro, we got to talk about it. Ryan Day, I don't know if the seat is hot, but you're not comfortable right now because you already lost to Michigan. Ohio State fans, I don't know why we just can't beat this team since you've been around because Urban couldn't lose to him.
Yeah.
And it's like, so, okay, you lose, and you don't make it to the Big Ten championship game, you lose to Michigan again, not even a good team this year. But you're like, but we're going to win the national championship. You got to win the national championship. And the thing is, they don't even have an easy road because let's say if they do, let's say they beat Tennessee this week. I'm going to Ohio State as well, too, but I'm going to Ohio State more as a fan. I want Ohio State to win. I know Tennessee got a pretty good defense. Ohio State wins this game, they're going to play Oregon. Right? Then if you beat Oregon, because Oregon obviously has a bye, then you got to go play the winner between which we think Texas will be Clemson. So I'm assuming you think Texas will be Arizona State.
Oh, yeah. To be honest, I mean, going back to my first point, I think that's a setup. I think the committee set Arizona State and Boise State up. I can't lie, man.
Yeah. So that's what I was...
Man, I don't know. I mean, I just don't agree with those seedings, but we'll see.
They said it's the first year, so you just kind of got to work out the kinks. But yeah, so it's like, shoot, even if you're Ohio State, this is no easy task. It's not like, low-key to an extent, it was a little bit easier when it was a 14 playoff. Because you win this one, you're national championship. And then another thing about being football, too, there's a lot of injuries happening in football. There's high-speed collision going on every time. Yeah. By the time you get to that third or fourth round, who's to say you got starters? Yeah. Especially when, we're going to transition out of this, especially whenever you got guys entering the portal that are potentially going to be in the playoff.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. What was that? these teams I saw, I think it's one of Georgia receivers. Entered the portal, and they were even asking their players, like, how do you feel about receivers that your team is going to be playing the college football playoff entering the portal? That's what happened to Malik Murphy, I want to say. You remember he was the backup quarterback with Dre's at Texas? He's at Duke now.
Okay, yeah, I remember when he was at Texas. I don't know.
Right, so last year they were heading to the play. I remember they were heading to play Washington.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, no, I remember now.
And he leaves.
Yeah.
But he's the backup quarterback.
Yeah.
So if Quinn gets hurt in this playoff, I guess we got Arch. You've been the backup quarterback all year, but he had to leave. He had a decent year at Duke. He's leaving again. Mm-hmm. How you feel about the portal? Because it's kind of crazy. It's like you got guys leaving, like in the middle of the season, be like, hey, coach, honestly, it's not looking too hot this year. we 6-4. We 5-4. I'm about to get up out of here. But you also have guys that are in the playoff who are like, I got to go ahead and get while this money's still in the pot at the next school, so I'll leave the school. Yeah. And sometimes you have guys who are backup quarterbacks. Devin Brown for Ohio State. Yeah. He's the backup, right?
Yeah, he's the backup right now, yeah.
So what I was just talking about, he's doing that this year. And I understand it because you can't sit there and wait because y'all might mess around and be done with the playoff. You might not even make it to the national championship, and then that school is getting out their new NIL bag to another guy who didn't make it that far. Yeah. But do you like all the transferring, and do you think there should be some stipulation? What you think?
To be honest, I'm a fan of it.
Okay.
You know, I'm a fan of the portal. I just think we're in the wild, wild west years.
Yeah.
Obviously, like with how much money's getting thrown out.
Big bags.
You know, like it's pretty clear the NCAA is going to regulate it at
Probably
some point.
So, yeah.
They're going to put some things in place. It just is a matter of when. But to be honest, I'm a fan of it. Ever since kind of Joe Burrow made that move to Ohio State, I've kind of seen hey, let guys kind of shoot their shot.
Move around a little bit.
Obviously there's been people that have taken advantage of that, coaches taking advantage of that.
Yeah.
But I would say for the most part, what it's for and the people that are using it for what it's worth, I think I like that part.
A lot of people are saying this one between that and obviously you have the money being passed around and the playoff. This year, college football every week was interesting. Yeah. You know, it used to be back in the day, okay, watch Clemson, Georgia. Okay, if you're not in the 14, we're not really worried about you anymore. And most fan bases feel like they still have an opportunity. I think that was kind of crazy because I was looking at it and I had a stat on my phone. They're talking about in the SEC as far as how many guys have entered the transfer portal. In Mississippi State, it's 22.
Jeez.
And Colorado cleared Rockers last year. So if you was here in spring training, you're not here for next season. But so it is what it is. But you see some schools like Georgia only have 2 guys in the board. Now one can say that's because they're about to go to the national championship game, or if they're going to the playoff, maybe those guys might leave after the spring or whatnot. But there's also I always wonder about how many guys are getting into the portal and don't have destinations to go next and will just be stuck out in the wind. Because they're even saying the portal used to be JUCO football. Like, you go down to JUCO, guys go down to JUCO, find their player, coaches go out, find their players, whatever. But now JUCO's kind of pushed back to, not to say this specifically, because there are also a lot of high school guys going JUCO because now the teams aren't seems like Colorado don't really take a lot of guys from high school. Yeah. But there are also a lot of guys you don't have another situation, another place to go play at. You might have to go play D2 for a minute. For a year or so, get your stuff back together, because there might not be no more spots. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, they've dropped the rosters to 105 guys. So they said that's going to eliminate walk-ons. Because you got 120 guys, you might have 15 guys to walk on.
Wow.
Pay your own way, figure it out. You only got 105 now. They're not going to cut the scholarship guy. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I paid for his books. Yeah. So we're going to see how that kind of works out here. I like, for reference, I do like the portal. I think you just got to put some parameters around it. Apparently, they're saying they're gonna start revenue sharing.
Like what with the conferences?
I'm still trying to figure it all out.
Yeah, I just know that seems even more tricky.
I figured I would just say it on the podcast so that people who are validating the podcast. We talk about revenue sharing. We're gonna have to get legal analysts in here later to explain it. You see Gus Malzahn is leaving UCF as a head coach to go and be UCF. No, not UCF. He's going to Florida State to be offensive coordinator.
I didn't see it, but I think you told me about it just before this, man. I want to hear your thoughts on that first. What do you kind of think about that?
I'm hearing a lot, and I don't know if this is Gus' situation, but I remember Chip Kelly. Mm-hmm. He left UCLA because he was like, man, I'm tired. He didn't say specific. I'm just acting like him in this moment. But from what I'm understanding, he was tired of being a CEO. Like, because at a certain point, you know, especially now when you got all this money, you got to go out there and go to the donors, got to get more money, da-da-da.
Yeah.
You're just CEO, but you probably got an X's and O's a lot.
Mm.
And you just don't have all the time. You got to lean a lot of your offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, all that other stuff. So I don't know if that's why Gus did that. Maybe he was like, okay, it's been cool being the coach here at UCF, and this is great, but I'd rather just get back to the X's and O's at Florida State. Be able to have, like, the offense is my unit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You go to Florida State, they get a lot of talent. I still seeing with this first Sunday that just passed, I'm still seeing guys, 4 stars commit to Florida State.
Yeah.
So saying that they believe in the vision, I feel like a big thing for Gus Malzahn is always going to be, like, at Cam Newton, 1 year, playing college to the number 1 pick in the draft. So you come play with me, and now that I'm back coaching offense, I see potential, and you look what we can do there.
Yeah.
And if they keep saying, if you look at that, like, Cam Newton team, like, yeah, you had him and Fairley, but you don't really, and I was really rooting for him that year, but you don't really know too many other players on their roster.
Yeah.
So it was either Cam was doing real good or it was some real good coaching out there.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that, but I just think that I saw that, I'm like, okay, so that's another head coach leaving to go be an offensive coordinator somewhere. Maybe guys are like, okay, all this portal stuff is cool and all that, but I would rather just coach offense.
Yeah.
I'd rather be a teacher than running backs. Well, not teach them, because at that point you're a pretty athlete, you know, playing ACC or SEC. But I'd rather just be doing X's and O's as opposed to shaking hands and all this other stuff and whatever that comes with that. So you think Florida State, they had a bad fall off this year. You think there's rumors that they might go get Castellanos, who was the BC quarterback this year?
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah, I think he left the team. I saw that. Yeah,
he's into the portal.
Team, yeah.
So you think Florida State can get back, or you think it's gonna be a little while?
It depends, because I also did hear that it's very probably super low key, maybe not even entertaining yet, but maybe that James Franklin might go at Penn State may go take over at Florida State. So if that happens, that's not a bad setup. If I'm kind of somebody like, hey, you get a seasoned coach, maybe one of the better ones in college football, and then obviously a proven offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
If I'm an offensive guy, obviously playing in a school like Florida State, you're always gonna be in those games too.
Yeah.
You know, playing Florida, Miami, teams like that, being in the ACC, so you're already gonna be in that talk. So, you know, if I'm somebody out in Florida, maybe I'm entertaining that a little bit now with that.
James Franklin's interesting because Vandy, obviously he was really good coach at Vandy, so obviously he has to go to Penn State.
Yeah.
And it's like Penn State's always knocking on that door. I think it was Klatt that was saying, it was like, Penn State's probably one of the schools that love having the playoff almost more than anybody, because now they don't get just barely not in the game.
Yeah.
You know, usually they always just right outside the playoff, and this year's a great example. They're in the first year, and so, okay, but he can never beat Ohio State. He still got a chance to go to the playoff. He can never beat Ohio State.
Yeah.
So I just wonder if it's like, if he goes to this is what it is. I wonder if he goes to Florida State, is he the guy that can never beat Clemson? Because it's always that one school he can never beat. It's crazy, though, because I've been thinking about throughout this season. Vanderbilt, right? We remember James Franklin, he just worked some magic out there in Vandy and get them winning. They just looking pretty good this year without him.
Yeah, nah, man. They were the upset masters, man.
I'm interested to see if that quarterback, I think he was suing, he was doing a restraining order against the NCAA.
Oh, yeah, I did see that, so he could play another year, something like that, right?
Yeah, because he wanted another, because I don't know if he has a pro future per se. I don't want to say he doesn't, I don't want to say he does. But he thinking, I get another NIL bag. Because if you didn't see what they're doing now is, they'll be like, such as the Kansas quarterback has agreed to terms. So he'll be back another year. That's how they talking in college now.
Yeah, no, it's crazy, yeah.
He's agreed to terms with the university. You'll see y'all next year. Same thing happened with, I just saw, I think it's Stewart from South Carolina, the defensive lineman, the freshman that went crazy this year. I think also, I'm pretty sure he's the one that did the little gun thing. I'm pretty sure.
That video was crazy.
I think people in South Carolina, he's a really good pass rusher. But outside of South Carolina, when I see people don't really know what I'm talking about, I'm like, I know it's going to get your memory going. But anyway, my whole point is saying that is, nowadays, so guys are just agreeing to terms another year.
Yeah.
It's like the NFL. They've agreed to terms with it, so they're figuring it out. But, last thing we'll say about this, and we're just going to talk about college football, NFL for a minute before we get up out of here. Heisman, who you got?
Man, I got Ginny, to be honest. I think Travis would have won, but the games he kind of sat out half one. I just think he didn't have enough there.
Okay.
Like, to go both ways. He just, like, obviously he dominated. He just didn't have enough of that on film, I would say. And then they said, you know, the Boise State boy, he sat out 8 quarters because of blowouts. So you imagine, you know, he's...
Bro, yeah,
he sat out about 8 quarters this season. So you're saying, like, man, he almost broke the record and sat out, you know, like 8 quarters. And I just think, you know, like, as a running back, you know, to do something this great, it's got to be recognized. Yeah,
I forget, I know I mentioned a couple of times. But I feel I'm sure you would appreciate his greatness. And doing it on a week-to-week basis, I remember, because it's like, he couldn't just be a 100-yard back. That wasn't going to get him the Heisman. He was able to produce every week, and they knew what was coming. Yeah. It wasn't like he was surprising people. Every week he was doing, he even had a great game against Oregon. Yeah. It's funny, in my world, I thought everybody was just I just thought everybody knew that Travis Hunter was going to win it. As I talked to more people keep telling me, it's like they think that Boise State running back got a chance. I'm like, oh shoot. And then if you go down Twitter, shout out Elon Musk, because now you just see Twitter for what it is. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no, and we ain't gonna get all that. But it ain't no, like, what do they call it? Speech. It's a bunch of freedom of speech, but there's no
censorship.
Thank you. Yeah. Shout out to Dakota. That's why he paid Dakota big money. But, there's no censorship, so you're just seeing what people are saying straight out and about. Yeah. And it seemed to me like I'm seeing a ton of Genty. And I'm like, yo, that's crazy. I'm a fan of Travis Hunter. I want Travis Hunter to win it. I think it would be cool. And Deion didn't do nothing else whenever as far as during his time at Colorado, he had a Heisman Trophy winner there. That would be his remark. They might have had some in the past. I just don't know, about their future like that. I mean, their past. Eric Bieniemy went to Colorado.
Oh, you said Eric Bieniemy?
Yeah, Eric Bieniemy.
Oh, well, no.
Yeah, he was a baller back in the day.
Really?
And also, unfortunately, he got fired. he got fired at UCLA. They're thinking, you know what? That's a great segue. He got fired at UCLA. They're wondering if he has a pro job lined up. We heard a lot of Kansas City players having a lot of comments about Eric Bieniemy. Jacob, you're a Kansas City man. What are your thoughts?
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Matt Nagy's been doing a good job.
Because we've been hearing a lot of talks about him maybe returning to Kansas City.
Hey, this is a perfect reason why you want to listen to the grass isn't always greener on the other side. He went to Washington thinking he had a head coaching job set up, and it just wasn't. It wasn't what he wanted.
And I will say, going to college and being fired, I think he's only been there a year. And I think he's only been at UCLA for a year. And to be fired, not, we've agreed to part ways, so therefore he could take another opportunity. They just told you got to go. And so now it's like everybody, all the people, all the Kansas City, I think LaShawn McCoy was one of the biggest guys that kind of spoke out against him. He didn't really like him too much as a coach. He felt like it was too hard on players. And he was like an old school kind of coach. And it looks like the players were kind of right. So I don't know. I was shocked though when I saw that. Also, God no, I'm not even doing that. We're going to talk about this NFL. Cowboys lose. Cincinnati. Man. Yeah. Man, first of all, Bengals have been an extreme disappointment this year. Now, granted, Burrow and Chase been going crazy. The great duo. No, yeah. But, so really it's like in the Cowboys, Tyron last episode said he believed they should tank. And so you see them two matching up on Monday Night Football, and the Cowboys lose again. And about the funniest clip, I'm gonna see if I can find a clip and put it on the photo on top of this for the people watching on YouTube. It's so funny. Did y'all see the clip of Michael Parsons leaving the field, kind of storming off? And somebody put on the coat and they said he ready to go in and do that podcast. That they had me dead. Cause he like walking real fast into the thing, and then he's like, because you like I guess kind of like how we originally saw with Draymond Green. Now you have these players doing these podcasts. Yeah. So like it's like they gonna go talk about this next week. It's like Paul George whenever the Clippers got knocked out. Yeah. Paul George talking about the podcast. You hear his thoughts on it. Yeah. And it's more than just the media. So that's kind of crazy there. The Cowboys lose on Monday Night Football, so the season just keeps continuing going down. That was a weird way to lose. Did you see the highlights of it?
Yeah. I saw that they lost. Yeah. They still had some time too. A minute left after they got that touchdown. I mean, obviously, they can't put too much. You can't put too much faith in Cooper Rush. Right? Yeah. So, as good as CeeDee Lamb, is and has been, and that some of those Cowboys players, man, when you got so much dysfunction, you know, within your team, it's hard to win games. I think that's what's going on with them right now.
It was insane to see the boy, from what I understand, almost blocked the field goal. I mean, not field goal, the punt, whatever. The boy has the ball, trying to touch it. Bengals get the ball, and of course, when that happens, Jamar Chase gets a touchdown.
Yeah.
And I think somebody on the Peyton Manning podcast, somebody was watch Jamar's about to score right here.
Yeah, Collinsworth called.
Collinsworth called it. Do y'all watch the? Yeah, we kind of opened up at this point. We about to be out of here. Do y'all watch? When y'all watch Monday Night Football, do y'all prefer to watch the normal one? Or do y'all like to watch the Manning cast?
I think just out of tradition, I gotta watch the normal one. But
Okay.
I've seen a few of those Manning casts. I do like the Manning casts. They kind of offer a different kind of perspective, but typically I'm turning on that traditional kind of broadcast.
Okay, what about you, Jacob?
Yeah, traditional one. I've tried the Manning cast a couple times. This doesn't do it for me.
I want the Manning cast because I want to watch the Manning cast, but I feel like Peyton likes to talk football, and I feel like the other guys just drift a lot. And then they have the different guests on, and sometimes the guests aren't really, they're watching the game for sure, but I know certain people like to hear the other stuff, but I want to hear you breaking down the game more in depth.
Yeah.
And I guess to an extent, ESPN, like, if you don't do that, you need to just go ahead and watch the regular cast. But I like to tune into that. Real quick, also, y'all seen this thing with the Eagles?
Oh, the A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts.
They're having a good season. And you would think by the problems that are coming up, it's like, are we having a good year? And it's crazy for one of the players to then come out and say, yeah, they're not getting along like they used to. Because now if people weren't paying attention, he just confirmed it.
Yeah.
Y'all can't even lie no more because he just told us that they aren't getting along. Does anybody else think that's crazy?
Yeah, and not just any player. One of their season veterans, Brandon Graham, said it. I'm pretty sure he's the player who said that they were having issues or they weren't getting along.
And they used to be friends.
Yeah.
And so now people in the media like us are talking about this instead of how good of a year they're having. I thought that was like that. I was like, that's insane. But I mean, shoot, it kind of leads to this whole Giants thing. For the Giants, they had a choice. I think football fans are happy that we get to see Saquon with the Eagles because it's a better offense and better team.
Yeah.
And especially that's like a running city, so that works with being in Philadelphia. But you had the choice between Saquon, and then the HBO documented this, so it's in plain sight.
Yeah.
So you have the choice between two guys. You want to go Saquon, you want to go Daniel Jones. For whatever reason, you choose Daniel Jones, although he hasn't really shown you too much since maybe like 1 year, gave him his big contract. And then y'all agreed to let him go. Because now he lost about both people. Might get a high pick in the draft, but it's like, darn, we should not let Saquon go, is at least what I thought.
Yeah. Yeah, man, I mean, we're just seeing some people play the game better than others. You know, how the Packers had a franchise QB for the past, 30 years.
Yeah.
Versus, the Giants, ever since Eli Manning has been on the decline, haven't been able to figure out. So I think it's just teams understanding where they're at and just kind of, playing the business side of the NFL and doing that correctly. Like, to give Daniel Jones all that money in the first place, I mean, we all know it shouldn't have even happened.
Yeah.
I think they do got a chance to kind of right the ship a little bit with this draft. I think this is one of the better draft class, and I mean, there have been really good ones in recent history, but man, this one has a chance to be generational, in my opinion, and the QBs too. So,
quick money line segment again. We just gonna keep calling every time we gotta make that. We call it money line. DraftKings, we need to deal. All right, who you got? Does Shador go to New York or does he go to Las Vegas?
As a fan of Shador, I wanted him to go to Las Vegas.
Okay.
But I think that who has the first pick? The Giants or the
Giants? Jacob, you want to check that out? I think the Giants are trending to. Honestly, I don't know. Well, I guess I would say, which would you prefer to see him at?
I would definitely like to see him on the Raiders. I think they already have some pieces, and I think they're just a little more put together as a team. And I just want to see Shador succeed, to be honest, in the league. So.
And one thing for sure, you go to New York. Vegas is the fun city. They got that really nice stadium out there.
Yeah.
You go to New York, you got all the beat writers in the world out there. Not to mention, it's so crazy. We talk about beat writers, but nowadays everybody's journalist. Everybody got Twitter, and they're gonna tweet you directly. So it's like having a bunch of beat writers in your DMs. But New York's definitely poised for that. I think us being in Arizona, I want to see them play right there in Las Vegas because that'd be just a little bit of drive. I think I prefer, though, to see him in New York.
Right now, and these are just off of percentages, right? New York Giants, number 1, with at a 41% chance of number 1 pick. New England Patriots at a 23% chance of number 1 pick. Carolina Panthers at a 10% chance. Las Vegas Raiders as a 10% chance.
Okay, so Vegas ain't that bad. I don't want to see. I do not want to see. And I think because of how they feel like Cam Newton has been treated. And remember, Deion said he ain't gonna send his son everywhere. He's like, he gonna go where I want him to go. He said we might pull like a little Eli Manning situation going on. I don't feel like how they treated. And Bryce Young is starting to play a little better right now too. But I don't feel like Deion's gonna want him to go to Carolina.
I think they'll stick with Bryce Young.
Yeah.
I think by them starting them, I think him starting again. I think that's kind of Carolina saying like, hey, like, I think he's our guy. We're gonna rock with him. And he's shown glimpses too. He's shown glimpses in that game last week. You know, where he can be good in this league. I don't know about great just yet, but he can definitely make plays, win some games.
It was weird. It's almost like it was good to have him time to sit a little bit, watch Andy, maybe watching him look from the sideline, watch for a second, deal with some adversity. And this is what they're saying about, like, playing at the same school, like in college or whatever. So if he's at Alabama, his whole entire career there, he's had to sit there and been preaching adversity, what you're doing, adversity hits and stuff like that. So you've been in a program, so then you get to the league, have some adversity, you know what to do with it. You get benched, okay, cool, whatever. You got some of these guys who are going to like 8 different schools, and you're constantly transferring. You don't really build. I mean, obviously you continue to develop, but you also have these different coaches. You get some adversity, you leave, and you get to the NFL, and you got to go figure it out. And then short career. I think the NFL average career is like, what, 2 years or something? And it's probably gonna be shorter because some people are saying the talent isn't quite as. It can go both ways. Some people are saying the talent isn't quite as developed now coming out of college, because guys are transferring so much. But at the same time, now guys are staying in college longer.
Yeah.
Ain't no rush when you get. I just saw. I'm pretty sure that Carolina Stewart just got 1.5 mil. So it's like we could be here for a little minute.
Yeah.
Ain't no rush like it used to be back in the day. We gotta get out of there.
I mean, you seen the drafts, man. When you see everybody got the bust out, you know, out, that's how you knew that NI money was real, man. When everybody in the draft is pulling up, you know, gigantic Cubans.
Yeah, and the thing is, you ain't gotta get a loan from your agent no more. I got it out of college. Real quick, Nicole, we asked me to get up out of here for the day. I was about to say this podcast is brought to you by y'all sponsors. We're looking for sponsors. We're trying to get this thing rolling. We need you to come in. What I just said that right there could have been your spot. This podcast is brought to you by You Fill It In. Jacob, Kansas City, real quick. Jacob has a Kansas City segment that we're creating starting now. How you feel? How y'all doing? What'd you beat last week? Did you like the game? What you thinking?
I feel good.
Okay.
We beat the Chargers.
There you go. I did watch you. I did watch that.
It was a grinded game.
Yeah.
One thing I like to see is our defense was shaky the last couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Still, a team hasn't scored 30 points on us.
Good.
I like that. Looks like we're gonna have that first round bye.
Yep.
Got Hollywood Brown coming back in a week or so. Isaiah Pacheco's getting his feet wet.
Yep.
Things are clicking at the right time. The only thing that scares me is our left tackle position. That left tackle position is going to be rough. DJ Humphries, we signed him off the street. He had an ACL tear a year ago, and so he's been basically sitting on his couch for a year. He's going to be a little rusty. In the last game, he had a little hamstring.
I saw that.
And so that's scary. He's a Band-Aid though. He's not a fix. He's not going to fix our offensive line, at least our tackle situation, but he is going to hopefully shore up a little bit of the left side. We got to get Patrick Mahomes more time.
Okay. Did D-Hop play? Was he out there?
Yep.
He was out there. I didn't see. I saw. You just said his name, guy from Texas.
Xavier Worthy.
I saw him make that big catch like it was on third down. I saw Travis Kelce catch the ball, and then he got nailed, and then kicked the field goal to win the game, right?
The doink.
Yeah. Because when it first came, I was like, is that going to? Oh, we got to. Oh wow, they keep winning. Patrick Mahomes, he's very skilled, but that man lucky. They just keep figuring out. I was like, because if that's Baltimore, that thing goes out.
Hey, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good.
No, for sure. Because he just keeps finding a way to win. Yeah. Because I was thinking about that game. I was like, okay, Herbert looks pretty good. That looked like one of those duels, you know what I'm saying? Maybe how you used to see in the Bills versus Kansas City. You know, you got a really good quarterback, a really good team, and the Chargers, y'all ever pull it out. Who y'all got next week?
Next week we have the Browns.
Oh, Jameis Winston definitely have a little clip in this one. God forgive me. What do you say? I need God to save me from these pick sixes.
Yeah,
Deliver me.
Deliver me from the pick sixes. So we'll see if he gets deliverance next week. Well, we'll be back. I don't know if we'll be back next week. We'll definitely be back the week after the first round of college football playoff. It's been, appreciate you for coming out.
Hey, man, it's been fun, man. And I can't wait. Hopefully, we'll have some even more stuff to talk about after these games happen, man. So I'm excited.
For sure. We definitely have some more to chop it up. Bucket, follow us Bucket Sports on Instagram. I don't have the exact handle right now, but we're still growing. But shout out Jacob back there on the ones and twos. I think I've bet just enough time. Yeah, Bucket Sports _ Make those follow us. And we'll be back. Peace.